Welcome, fans, to a little emergency fill-in episode of Rangers Ed. I'm your host tonight, Little Ed, and I'm along with Coach Ed. Cousin Ed couldn't join us today. He's got family visiting for the holidays, so he's busy being host. Thank you all for joining. I know it's a busy time for everyone around this time of year, so we were thinking about skipping tonight ourselves, but we figured with all the drama going around, we owed it to you guys, our loyal fans, to get some things off your chest and maybe get some therapy as usual. These last couple weeks have been rough. So what's up, Coach? How we
In all
doing?
fairness, I think Cousin Ed needs the night off.
Yeah, I don't think he was really looking forward to recording another one of these episodes anyway. So he might pop in and surprise us at some point and maybe give us his thoughts, but we'll see. We already have some action in the chat. Chris says, "Happy Festivus, guys." So Chris,
Nice.
happy holidays. Paul, as usual, is here. Good evening, gentlemen. What's up, Paul? I'm beyond disgusted, never so angry at this team as I am right now. That is not a playoff season ending defeat. And of course, Gaz is here as well. I sometimes wonder why are we becoming clowns this season. Well, guys, we've been wondering that ourselves. Maybe we'll be able to give you some answers tonight, but I doubt it. I don't even know if we have answers ourselves at this point. And Vitali 21 says, until Mika is benched, I don't know how much longer I can watch this team. I guess on that note, I didn't mention this in the little pre-show, but we might as well talk about Kreider being a healthy scratch. What did you think about that, Coach, when you saw that news today?
I mean, the first thing I thought of is that he's going to be traded. I mean, that's kind of what happened. Wasn't Trouba scratched the one game and Kakko the same thing? I'm hoping that's not the case. What I'm hoping is Laviolette did a Herb Brooks and went up to him and said, "Look, I need to set an example. I'm going to scratch you." I don't know. I mean, that's my wishful thinking. I mean, watching Mika against the Devils, I mean, they got to get rid of him. I'm sorry. It's just he's a shell of himself. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the kid. I don't know what's going on. But his just laziness and his we used to say his defensive play made up for things, but it's not. I tried to help him and give him excuses as far as situations in the last few months, but I can't anymore. I can't do it.
It's definitely been rough. You obviously have a little bit more patience with players than Cousin Ed and I do, but it's been very rough. It's inexcusable on Mika's part, I think. Yeah, and Vitali said in the comments also, Kreider, yeah, he's been a passenger, but Mika is actually hurting the team, which I could agree with. Like we've been saying it ad nauseum, beating it to death. Is Mika's paid to be a number one center, and it's not even close to what we can. Oh, Cousin Ed is backstage. Let's bring him on.
Boys,
shaking his head.
Stay away.
Boys,
stay away.
I got some steaks on the grill and some family over, so I can't stay long. But I had to log in, Coach Ed was he sent me some steaks, so got to do the steak thing. But guys, I mean, Omaha,
nice
Omaha steaks. Coach Ed came through, so I got to. He had to send it when my sister was here, so now I got to make it for everybody. I can't enjoy it myself. I got to share it with everyone. But it's beautiful. Thank you, Coach, for that, by the way.
Well, tell her that's a gift for her, too,
then. So, boys, there's zero sustained offensive pressure, no defensive structure. They don't challenge anybody out there. They're the easiest team to play against. I mean, Little Ed, I think that we had a more difficult time playing against the Hockey Night in New York podcast last December,
probably
than the Devils had against the Rangers today. The goalie is hung out to dry to the point that MSG shill Joe Micheletti is bashing the team for the last 15 minutes of the game. I mean, just embarrassed by the way they're playing.
Kudos to Joe for standing up and saying that, because it's obvious, and he wasn't just he wasn't acting as a homer. I mean, the unfortunate part is again, like you guys said it a couple of weeks ago, Sam gets like excited. The Hughes brothers score. I'm like,
I know.
calm down, Sam. Come on.
Yeah, he does.
I think at this point, Sam's just trying to enjoy the last year of his career.
I guess.
I mean, Hughes is great. He played a great game today. He penalty killed.
I mean,
he was good. He was really good
look,
today. Gotta give him credit.
I in the past can't stand it, but obviously the Devils are running on all cylinders.
Coach, we can't stand him. That doesn't change the fact that
Yeah.
you can be honest about his play. I couldn't stand Chipper Jones for 12 years or whatever, but the guy was a great player, right? I mean, I can admit he's
Or
matured.
Brad Marchand or
Right.
who else?
He's matured, and he's a much better player this year than he's been. I mean, he was a great penalty killer today. I mean, the Rangers are stubborn. They play a floating style. The east-west passes in the neutral zone. They get turnovers at the blue line. They don't back check. It's just completely embarrassing as a fan. I don't know how much lower they can go. They're going to be in last place in the Metro by the end of the night going into Christmas. I mean, this is, let's face it, it's a lottery team this year. I mean, it's crazy. They're gonna be in the mix for the lottery. That's how bad the season has gone. I mean, and I don't see it turning around. I mean, Mika Zibanejad, is he going to hit 15 goals this year?
I can't even believe the thing that's mind-boggling to me is that I can't even believe. Again, last year I did nothing but praise that coaching staff, and I'm sure they're going through videos and telling them what they need to do against the Devils. And how many odd man rushes, how many blind passes to the front of the net did they make where the Devils intercepted it and went down on a 3-on-2? How many times? These are NHL high-level hockey IQ players. I tell my kids, no blind passes, puck possession against a team that's better than us, that can skate. And these guys are just giving the puck to the Devils.
It's horrible.
I'm watching that game, and I'm like, I knew they lost because of your comment, but I'm watching the game. I'm like, how are they doing this?
No, there's no
Again,
cohesive play.
I'm far from any level Laviolette is, far from it. But I've experienced that frustration, so I can only imagine my frustration times 100 on his end. When you have that
Coach,
talent.
Laviolette finally scratches Kreider. Right? We've been calling from the scratch vets and not just the young guys. So he scratches Chris Kreider today. The team's response is this. This is their response.
I mean, first period, I thought they responded well in the first period. I mean, Hughes got that goal. It was kind of a deflection. I'll give him that little it was a change up. I thought the first period played well.
Not nearly good enough. It's not nearly good.
I know, but it's against a team of the Devils' caliber, the way they are. I was scared of them when they made their moves in the offseason. I thought they held their own. They showed some fight. Carrick had a nice fight, held his own. I thought he did good. There was 2 fights. They were showing some gumption, and then the second and third period, just like, what are you doing?
I just don't see it. I mean, look, fights are fine, and there's guys that are individually trying to spark the club, and Trocheck, Carrick, Cooley, you can individually point out some guys who didn't mail it in, but they had 12 shots on goal. They stubbornly refuse to play a simple game. We talked about this last week. The Rangers are struggling. They need to simplify the game. Dump and chase and forecheck has worked since the origin of the game. In 1900 or whatever the hell it was, some Canadian pond where people invented this game. They started dumping and chasing, and it worked, right? And they've been doing it ever since. And the Rangers refuse to do it. And I don't know what to say. I mean, it's not just dumping it in; it's going to get it. They can't do that on the power play.
Yeah, we struggle that with our kids throughout the years as well. It's like you have to dump it with a purpose, and then you have to go get it. You can't just dump it and watch and like wait for the Devils to come break it out in your face. It's like, what's the point? It's just, they don't count that as a turnover, do they? But that's a turnover.
Yeah. I mean, boys, at this point, do they got to fire Laviolette? Does he just have to go? I
guess that's
a choice. Like, unless they actually do trade Kreider, and then there's a way to run Mika out of town. They always say it on NHL Network. You can't trade 18 players. You could fire one coach.
Mika's not going anywhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. What are you going to do? Unless you just waive him. Like, he's worthless anyway. So just fucking.
He can't be waived. He can't be waived, Ed. He's got a no move clause for his entire contract till 2030. You're gonna watch Mika
He
Zibanejad.
can't be waived. He can't be
Oh, here she is. She's gonna steal my steaks.
I keep forgetting that includes getting waived. That's insane. That's like literally insane. It just gives the player like no reason to play hard at all.
I know.
Unless like
none.
That's what I was thinking about with Juan Soto. Like it's like, okay, you sign this guy to $800 million, just say whatever. I know it's $765, whatever. With all of his bonuses and stuff, it's closer to $8 million. Like, what's the incentive of him to play well? But then I saw he gets like another like $15 million for an MVP, another $50 million for a World Series. Like that's his incentive to keep playing well. Like I don't know if that's in the NHL contracts.
What's crazy is that all the talk right now is how the players are going to want to amend the CBA to prevent teams from claiming them if waived, if they're on their no trade list. I've been hearing that from Elliot Friedman and a few other people. Players don't like the fact that they can get around the no trade clause by waiving them. But I think it should be amended to get rid of the no move clause, honestly.
That's not going to happen. It sounds like the players really want that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't have it both ways, right? I mean, when you sign a contract,
there should be some middle ground.
When look, I mean, guys got to run a team. You can't have a guy who's holding a team hostage for 7 years with no way to get rid of him other than a buyout. That's crazy. Look, I blame the Rangers for, I guess, giving Mika that contract. But I'll say when it was signed, I thought it was a team discount. That's how good Zibanejad was. And you can go back and listen to our podcast from 2018 or 19, whenever we started this podcast, and you will hear us praise Mika Zibanejad.
I named my cat after him 5 years ago. I have
the guy was a stud.
Dude, the
guy was a stud. He was a stud. I mean, and
I had him pegged for the Selke for 100 points, whatever. At one point, we probably said 50 goals. Like,
Coach, is it mental or is it effort? I mean, look, people online say you can't question the effort of these guys. They're trying this, that, and the other, and we question it. And I hear them. I understand. Like, look, I don't think Mika Zibanejad's out there actively trying to lose. I don't think he's out there, just mentally like, oh, fuck it, I'll mail it in. Excuse me. But I don't think that's what he's doing. But the effort isn't good enough. So it becomes a thing where it's like, does your mental state affect your effort? Does it? I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm out of things to tweet. I'm out of things to talk about. I don't know what to say. But this team is heading for the lottery. And if that's the case, trade Lindgren, trade Smith, trade anyone who's a pending UFA, get him out of here. I still don't want to trade Kreider, just because for two reasons. One, I don't think he's the problem. I really don't. But the second reason is I just got his freaking jersey. Come on. Like, Jesus. I mean, come on. Can I wear a jersey of a guy who's on the team, please?
Jersey Profile sponsored by Oscar's Postal Chocolate.
Right. Can I wear a jersey of a player on the team without him being run out of town or stop trying or getting injured or something? Is it possible? Anyway.
The other thing I want to say, I mean, I thought, again, the Dallas game, I thought they played really well. I'm sorry. I don't know what you guys think. I thought it was a game.
I was thinking that before. How could they play against Dallas and then not put up anything against the Devils?
Well, with all those penalties, it was tough. Dallas appeared to outplay them analytically, but I think it was mostly a cause of 7 power plays for Dallas. So I think 5-on-5, the Rangers were pretty good in that game, and they played a good road.
I mean, and again, we're going to get into this, but Rempe drew 3 penalties. He had a hell of a game before that penalty, and again, that's just stupid. That's just uncalled for in a tight game. He's just hurting his own cause. But to me, everybody says get rid of Trouba. The Devils came across the blue line every time with no fear.
No fear.
I don't care what anybody says. Valaquette said it. It's a game of intimidation, and they came across with no fear. Zero. They did what they wanted to. How many cross-ice passes? Very few body checks. Every time the Rangers touched the puck, there was a guy knocking, not every time, but way too often knocking them on their ass.
Yeah, they had way too much fun. Boys, I got to run. I just wanted to stop in. I'll check out the episode. Enjoy. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Merry Christmas.
Say hello.
I'll see you guys next weekend.
Later, cuz. You can keep going. You're on a roll there.
But it was just like to me. It was hard to watch. I wanted to watch in case there were any more fights or anything going on at the end. But every time they came across the line, zero fear factor, nothing. And I can't blame the two defensemen they got, the one for Kakko and the one for Trouba, because they're coming to a team that has lost defensively, so they have to try to figure it out. I think the guy Borgen's playing a hell of a game without the puck, from what I saw in 2 games. I think he plays well. He plays hard. I don't know who are we going to blame now, other than the fact that Lafreniere is taking games off at a time also. 2 lazy stick penalties. How many too many men on the ice penalties are we going to get? That's maybe the only thing I can give on the coach in the game time situation, which we don't know what's going on, if it's the players' stupidity or ignorance, why those are happening. But, Laffy's taking games off. He's got 1 goal in 14 games, I think, now. And he's just giving the puck up, and it's hard to watch. I'm very disappointed in him when we had him freaking.
I'm not defending Laffy, but I keep saying like there's players like McDavid, there's players like even like Draisaitl, like that can control a game. McDavid can go end to end and just go through everyone blazing speed. Rangers don't have that guy right now. So if Laffy, I'm not saying he shouldn't be standing out, shouldn't be putting more effort, but right now the entire team, like pretty much start to finish, is playing awful. So like, I know what it's like to not have fun playing, and like that's kind of what the Rangers are right now. They're just not having fun. And like when you're not having fun, like you're just going through the motions, like, and we're not having fun watching them. They're definitely not having fun playing.
Oh, without a doubt, you could just see it on their faces.
You can't get your feet moving when you're not having fun. But then it's like, how do you start having fun again? It's insane. And that I kind of put on the coaches. I think who was I listening to recently? I think it might have been Rupper, and I think it might have been Bruce Boudreau on NHL Network Radio was saying it's up to the coaches to make it fun to come to the rink again. And I think Laviolette tried that the other night. The other day we saw the clip floating around of him scoring on Igor and the Rangers going nuts and stuff. They were having fun at practice, So I don't know what's going on. We obviously never really know, except for like what Johnny Laz reports from practice and all the other beat writers and stuff. But what is it that they're not having fun? Why aren't they having fun in games? Why aren't they?
No, it's hard to. The only, again, I hate to keep comparing myself to what he's going through, but.
Well, that's why we're here. Personal experience.
I'm going to go by that game against Columbia. I'll be honest with you. We lost 10-0. I was ready.
It was rough. It was horrible.
I was just ready to jump on the ice. And I'll be honest with you. I was ready to just quit.
Me
I
too.
was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is ridiculous.
That was rock bottom. That was the boys turned it around after that game, thankfully.
I then talked to myself.
For both of us.
I talked to myself on the way home. I talked to myself. I sit here watching the Rangers. I try to figure things out. I came up with that little game plan. We came back, and they responded, and they did good. Then I get the energy again. And, if I'm Laviolette, I want to just go crawl in a hole. I want to just fire me. Pay me, and let me just – I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He probably got that energy again after they had the good game against Dallas.
Yeah. But they didn't put together back. Carolina, again, I don't expect them to win every game. Carolina was an empty net goal. So I didn't see the game. I really watched the highlights. That's what I was
thinking. And similar to what I said last episode, in a vacuum, losing to Carolina 3-2 or 3-1 is not that big of a deal.
Well, it's really 2-1.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not that big of a deal no matter what if you lose to Carolina. But since they've been losing so much, and then they beat Dallas, you're looking them to have a really strong game against Carolina, and they lose.
No, then you look to them competitive against the Devils, and we went to the game at the Garden, they got wiped out. You figure now they're going to be pissed. Let's do something. It was tough.
Extremely.
It was tough.
Extremely.
All the scapegoats are gone. Not all the scapegoats, but they get rid of Trouba. Everybody wants him out. They get rid of Kakko, which I'm not disappointed about. We could talk about that trade. I don't know what your opinion is on it. I think I sent you my little video. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I was waiting for Cuz to post or to send me his, and then I was going to make one and post it on my Instagram. But yeah, we can get into that. But the last thing I'll say about the Devils, I mean, if nothing else was rock bottom, I think this is. I was thinking that before. Like, they keep on giving us like some glimmers of hope a little bit, like when we keep saying like this is rock bottom. But I think losing 5-0 to probably the biggest rivals of late. I mean, the Islanders are one team, but I think the Devils lately are the Rangers' biggest rivals, we could say.
Yeah,
Losing
because
4-5-0 at the Prudential Center is pretty embarrassing.
But what's the answer then? What is the answer?
I don't know. I really don't know.
If you can't get rid of Mika or Panarin and change things up as far as that goes, make some kind of a blockbuster trade, what can you do?
Well, I don't know why Kreider could be scratched and Mika can't, so maybe we'll see. Do they have another game before Christmas? No.
No.
Obviously.
The next game is Saturday after Christmas.
I mean, maybe some time at home will be good for all of them. But
next.
What?
They play Tampa, then Florida next, I think they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a time at home would be good for everybody, but at the same time, I don't see why Mika can't be scratched or can't be healthy scratched, and everybody and Kreider can. Kreider's also battling an injury, so I don't know why they wouldn't just say that. I was thinking that before, like maybe his back is just acting up and they don't want to classify it as an injury. Like that could be another option, but I don't really know how that works or why they would do that. But either way, like scratch Mika, it's crazy. It's embarrassing at this point. Like I'd much rather Johnny Brodzinski centering that line than him.
I mean, but Johnny Brodzinski didn't have a good game today. I think there's a lot of pressure. A guy like Johnny Brodzinski's putting a lot of pressure on himself to get things done, I think, because that's a guy who cares and takes pride in what he's doing. He's at that level of his career, obviously, where he wants to do something and help and, make a difference. And it's hard for a guy of his level to step it up that much, and
no, for sure. Well, that's the thing the point I'm trying to make. Hockey's a team sport. It's not going to take one or two guys.
Right.
Like Cooley's been stepping up. He's been playing great. It can't. They have to come together and play hockey. And like Cousin Ed was saying before, like we're used to Panarin putting up 100 points, Mika scoring, Kreider scoring in the power play. That's obviously not happening. So they have to just go back to being just a standard hockey team and grinding it out and earning a win for a change. Not relying on the power play because not even the power play is working.
Oh my God, it was horrendous today.
They just have to get back to basics. Like, no, Panarin's not going to dump and chase, but someone else on that line has to dump and chase and then get Panarin the puck in the offensive zone. Like, that's just how hockey works. It's so frustrating.
I guess that's where the coaching has to figure it out. Maybe that's part of the issue.
Benching only goes so far unless you literally say, like, listen, if you're not going to go and chase, you're not going to play. Like, but benching only goes so far. They can't bench everyone.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like getting to that point where, like, no one deserves to play.
Again, Cousin Ed disagrees, but I thought they came out and they played a pretty good first period. The shots were pretty even. I thought they played physical. I think even Mika threw a hit behind the net.
I don't think you disagree with that, but either way, kind of beating a dead horse. I wanted to, before we sign off, just talk about the Kakko trade for a little bit, and then we could touch on the Rempe hit. But I didn't want to make this too long of an episode for everybody. I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with family and stuff. So yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Kakko trade a little bit. You weren't too thrilled about it. So we'll go on. What were you saying?
Well, we listened to Johnny Ladd, and they discussed it that, yeah, he was a number 2 pick overall, but his value isn't that high. His point level in 3 or 4 years isn't there to warrant getting any kind of a number 1 pick or anything. And I think Ladd had said that maybe they'll get a number 2 pick. They ended up getting a 3 and a 5.
I think so.
And the guy Borgen. So I mean, he was going to be an unrestricted free agent, so they were going to have to cough up some bucks and possibly lose him anyway. And I don't think it was a bad move. They had to get somebody for him. Yeah, he was playing good defensively. That line was going pretty good, but I don't know. it was going good for a while, but Heedle's a waste of time and space to me. I'm sorry.
Who's back to that?
Today he did nothing. He touches the puck, he gives it up. He makes a couple of good stick handles. He doesn't know when to pass and when not to pass it. He's not the answer. I mean, yeah, he's a highly skilled player, but Kakko, it was time to move. You got Hoffman coming up. If you're high on the kid Barad, you got Hoffman coming up. You got what's his name? Fortescue's going to be a year or two away. They got the kid Perot too, right?
Yeah. Well, he's a center.
They got guys that are coming up that are going to fill that third line, let's say defensive role or whatever you want to call it. And he's not putting the puck in the net. They showed highlights of him on Seattle. He missed 2 chances. He got a goal on a lucky play through the referee's leg.
Yeah.
He's missing the chances that he should have in front. I mean, look, I don't hate the guy, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. Your number 2 pick didn't work. And like I said, sometimes Cooley's the second round pick that works, and Lundqvist is the number 5. All that stuff evens out. Not every number 1 pick in history or number 2 overall pick becomes a superstar. Look at Duchesne. He didn't find himself till recently. It takes a long time for some players. It's right time, right place. So is it a great trade? No, but the situation is they were going to have to cough up some bucks or lose them anyway in the offseason, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. I think what I was going to say is like it stings more on paper, which is pretty much what you said. Like Rangers trade away their second overall pick. But if we actually look at Kakko for what he actually ended up being, a pretty solid like third line player, second line on a weaker team, I guess, but a pretty solid third line player. If we just drafted him for that, where they just drafted him for that, fans would never have complained about him or whatever, like it's a completely different situation. So I personally liked his skill set. I thought there was a lot of potential there. In the beginning, I don't think he got a fair shake, but then eventually he did get his opportunities. And like you said, he still couldn't put the puck in the net. If he puts in like half of his opportunities, we're probably not even having this conversation right now.
Right.
Like he had that 140-point season. If that stayed his norm or he was able to build on that at all, he'd still be on the team. He'd still be part of the future, I think. But you know what? Like, I'm going to put some blame on Mika and Kreider as well with that. Because that little time he did have the opportunity to play with them, it's not like they took him under his wing and made him play better and gave him opportunities. And like it's not like that situation. No one's working out with Mika and Kreider. And I think that we're starting to find that out now.
Look at Roslovic had like 16 goals this year.
Like everyone keeps saying like, oh, Buchnevich, they've been trying to replace Buchnevich. Anyone could have played with Mika and Kreider those years when Buchnevich was on that line. Mika and Kreider were playing that good that anyone could have played with those two and succeeded.
Right.
That's not the case anymore. So stop blaming all the right wings that are playing with Mika and Kreider. It just took everyone a little bit long to realize that Mika and Kreider were on the decline. It's just like, I'm sorry, you got to blame them. Like back to the Kakko thing, and I wish him luck. I hope he succeeds in like a lower market. I mean, I know Seattle's very popular, but there won't be as much media pressure and all the nonsense. They're probably welcoming him with open arms and whatever. Maybe he'll do a little bit better. I like the guy they got for him defensively. What?
Yeah, I do too. Like I said, he plays tough. I watched some highlights. He threw some decent checks, and like I said, he plays without the puck well. To me, it looks like he was covering guys with the Devils. But again, the structure of them defensively, leaving either they're all crashing down low, all 5 guys, and leaving the guy in the high slot open, or they're all up above the dots and they're leaving a guy down low by the goalie. I'm like, this is like, you learn this. I was teaching you guys that at Squirts.
For real.
What the hell are they doing? I don't understand. It's like Rempe was saying, after a certain amount of time, play your position, be a selfish player in the way that you play your position, cover your zone. If everybody does their job, then it's a lot more structured.
Yeah, I think everyone
try to do too much. It's like we deal with the problem where the center goes out and tries to block the guy on the point. Then you're leaving down low open because they want to do too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to hold your zone.
I think that's what's going on right now, and that's what I was saying before. Everyone is trying to break out of this slump and be the difference maker instead of everyone just coming together as the team and playing some hockey and just scrapping together like a 2-1 win. Like what? Just scrap it together. It doesn't have to be a 4-1. Like, you know what I mean? Like last year they had a ton of comeback wins, a ton of like marginal victories, whatever. You know, like it was exciting. It was exciting games to watch. We're not asking for blowouts. Just put together a nice little scrappy win.
Did you hear Joe shoot down Sam?
No.
It was start of the third period, and Sam it was 3-0, I think, at the start of the third. And Sam's like, I don't know, Joe. I'm feeling like it could be one of those comebacks. The Rangers are due. They're due, Joe. They're due. And Joe goes, more, I don't remember his exact words. It's like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Not this season.
He goes, by the looks of today's game, I don't think that's going to happen. Something like that. I was dying. That's how disgusted Micheletti is to watch it.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where everyone, it's crazy.
I'm even watching the trainer on the bench. The poor trainer's just like backing. You know, usually when the team's doing good, the trainer's like into it. He's laughing. He's throwing a towel. And the trainer's just sitting back there like, what should I do? I don't want to, I don't want to ask anybody.
Don't want to upset anybody. Yeah, it's that much tension. You could see it. You could tell. On everybody on the bench, on the coaching staff, trainers, everybody. It's crazy. It's wild.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's inevitable. They got to do something, and they're probably going to fire Laviolette. I was talking to I forget who I was talking to. We were talking about it, and it's like, why is it every coach they've had for the last 3 times is they do good the first year, and the second and third year it's lost. So can you put that on every coach?
No. It's on the
Can
players.
you put that on every coach? Gallant goes to the conference finals. He gets fired the next year. You're going to fire Laviolette again now? He goes to the conference finals and, they're close. GM keeps the team and you're going to fire him now? I don't understand. I don't know. To me, I say keep the coaches, make some moves, and write the season off at this point. Make the moves you need to do, trade players you can. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, really. I'm dumbfounded.
I think that, yeah. Well, they tried to bring up Rempe. This is the last thing we're going to talk about because I think now we're just repeating ourselves, saying I have no idea what the answer is. That's pretty much it. No, I'm trying to make a joke or making light of the situation because everyone's obviously on here. I see we have a lot of viewers tonight, so thank you again. But everyone's probably on here looking for answers, and I mean, yeah, we're trying to speak from personal experience and whatnot, but it's hard to find the answers. So yeah, Laviolette calls up Rempe. I've been seeing highlights of Rempe, Instagram. The Wolfpack love him. He plays phenomenal, gets an assist, gets star of the game, whatever, constantly. No penalties, no ejection. Probably gets a penalty here and there, but no ejections, nothing major. And then as soon as he comes to the NHL, he gets thrown out of the game again. It's like, I don't understand.
Well,
why can't he just play?
Maybe he comes up here and he wants to do too much and the excitement. I mean, the crowd's
that's what we were just talking about. Everyone's trying to be the difference maker, including him.
I mean, I thought he played a really good game. He drew 3 penalties. He drew 3 penalties in a row by hustle and by, moving. And then he makes that bonehead play. That's just, he's got to stop that, especially when the league's watching you.
Yeah.
It's not even about the fights. I see Chris is commenting on how many fights. We need the physicality. He's going to be the guy that when you dump it in his corner, that D's going to know he's getting freaking rammed. And that's what you need. The wing on the wall knows he's going to get hit, but he's got to control it. We thought he was going to get over that after last year. And that was
the elbowing is obviously unacceptable, but to me, it's like he has no reason to leave his feet.
Not only, he's 6'8". He needs to leave his feet.
Yeah, like a smaller player trying to get some leverage on a bigger player or whatever. Like, yeah, Truba used to, his momentum carried him. He shouldn't have either. Don't get me wrong, but like Rempe's 6'8". There's no reason for him to leave his feet.
If anything, he should be dropping his shoulder and keeping the elbow down and driving.
Yeah, I mean, we were all excited as fans in the offseason that he was training with George's The Rock and fighting and stuff, but he needs to learn the fundamentals of hitting. I think he needs to spend some time developing that skill if he wants to even think about getting called up again. Never
I
mind.
mean, Edstrom's as tall as him, and he hits pretty good, and he's not getting these penalties, you know. So
Rempe's too straight-legged in his hits. You know, Edstrom is, like we've said it a million times, he's just a better skater in general. You know, when Rempe goes into the
he kind of leads with his stick and angles better and like rubs the guy out.
right, like rubs the guy out, drives with his legs. I feel like Rempe is just like flying in, goes flat-footed, goes straight-legged, and then just uses his like body to throw the hit. You know, like because then once he's like straight-legged, there's no way for him to try to react at the last second with the player. You know.
Yeah, because that guy turned his back and it was over.
Listen, I'm sure this is unpopular opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this or watch this. Or I saw some people commenting on Instagram on our stories and stuff. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. He's not doing it intentionally. Like one person said, like, oh, he should be suspended for the rest of the season and stuff. Like, he's not like going out there to hurt Miro Heiskanen on Dallas Stars. Like, he's going out there to survive in this league, just like any other fourth liner ever has. He just doesn't have the body or right now the mindset you could call it to be able to do that the right way.
I mean, he's
like
a kid.
I said, like
he's 21 years old.
Right. You know, like I think, like I said, he shouldn't be worried about developing his skills or maybe even his skating at this point. That's probably part of it, but he should really spend time on learning how to throw a hit properly. And, you know, like we go through some of the hitting drills with our kids and stuff. You know, we always say kids, but like they're adults for most of them are getting to that point.
As old as him.
What?
They're as old as him. They're his age.
True. Yeah. Very true.
You know?
So, you know, like we very rarely think about that. Like some of these guys, if they were playing like youth hockey, they'd be like midget majors, you know, it's like, which is like pretty standard to go through a hitting drill as a midget major. Like junior teams aren't doing that. Like college teams might not be doing that. Like it's a skill that young kids should learn at a young age. And if you never did, you're not going to learn it at an older age either.
Yeah, it's tough to teach.
You know, like it's not something that a junior team's going to spend time on in practice. That's something you have to do like on your own time.
But they had an interesting question on NHL the other day. Boyle was on with Corey Schneider. And Schneider asked him because they were talking about, I think they were talking about a player on Dallas, that big defenseman. And they said to Boyle, he goes, did you ever get called for penalties because you were the biggest kid on the ice? He goes, yeah, till I got, not so much in the NHL, but when I was younger, I used to get penalties all the time because I was just knocking guys over, just banging into them, you know?
Yeah.
He was so big.
Yeah.
He goes, but there were a couple of refs in the NHL. He named two of them that he said, I hate them because they would call penalties on them.
Yeah, I mean, we said it to each other when we're at games, like, oh, I'm surprised he didn't get called for that. Or we know that they're watching every move. Like, it's no secret. Like, especially after this, getting suspended 8 games, he's not going to be able to do anything right.
No, next suspension is going to be like 20 games.
So
next major penalty is going to be like 20 games.
If I was him, like I said, just invest whatever it takes. If he wants to even sniff the league again, he's got to learn how to hit and just learn like some skating skills and things like that. But yeah, Chris made a good point. I threw it up on the screen. Edstrom hits to disconnect the player and the puck. Rempe hits to eliminate.
Yeah, good point.
It's a good way to put it. I mean, but like we said, Edstrom is just a smarter player.
He's a hockey player.
He's a hockey player, hockey IQ. Rempe was always the biggest kid on the ice. I mean, it's no secret that's probably why he got to where he is.
I mean, let's call it a spade. Edstrom grew up playing in where? Sweden,
right? I'm pretty sure.
He learned how to play hockey. Rempe grew up in Canada, where the coaches in Canada pretty much pick the biggest kids and just say, "Go out there and kill that defenseman." You know what I'm saying? Growing up, That's
Yeah.
all the stories you ever hear from these guys that live in Canada.
Well,
You know?
USA hockey too, I'm sure. Not to leave
Yeah,
them
I'm
out.
sure. I'm
but
not saying
we go
USA.
through that. We went through that nonsense.
Yeah. So he's got to deal with that, but he's going to have to learn quick, like you said. Otherwise, his NHL career is going to be short-lived.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's
He-
not already,
he
it's
can
not
afford-
already, it was in jeopardy already. God knows after this. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah.
very hard for him. It's going to be very
No
hard.
team could afford that, especially the Dallas game. They're winning 2-1, and they had to kill off a 5-minute major. I mean,
Yep.
Dallas got the penalty to even it out for a couple of minutes, but that could have took away. Yeah, I agree with Chris on that one too. I was a big fan of Etcham when he played those couple of games. If anybody
He started in
remembers, I
Hartford,
said
too.
that means Kakko's expendable, in my opinion, because you put a guy like Etcham in Kakko's position, he's scoring just as many goals.
Probably.
He get just as many points as Kakko did for 750,000.
He could probably do around the same stuff. I don't know about defensively if he's there defensively IQ wise, but offensively and protecting the puck and going after in the corners and stuff.
Yeah,
Might
I
not
saw
be
a
as
couple
skilled
of
as
plays.
Kakko, but he can develop that a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm saying for the production, he's there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Rempe's going to have to figure it out. And I mean, it's nice to have him if he can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that was good enough episode to get some talk about some things, fans. We're going to be back next week, actually probably next Sunday night, most likely 8:00 again, but I'll post an announcement on Instagram. But we're going to do like an end of the year wrap up. Mikey 150 is going to join us to talk about some things around the league, and he's a Bruins fan, so they're not in the same situation as the Rangers, but they're underperforming as well. So we're gonna talk about them and compare a little bit and see maybe what we can come up with at that point. And we'll do a little fun holiday episode. If you guys have listened over the years, we do like a holiday gift exchange, something that we would give a player for Christmas, whether it's better speed, harder shot, things like that. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that we could think of this year that players need. So if you have any suggestions, you can always message us on any of our socials. And yeah, we'll try to have some fun next week and make it a little bit more lighthearted and joke around a little bit. But for now, hopefully everyone enjoys the holidays. Thank you as always for joining us around this time. And we love you guys. And this is why we do it. I couldn't cancel on you guys tonight because you've always been here for us every week. So
Yeah, why not? It's always good to have people listening and asking questions, commenting.
yeah, it's very, very cool. So we love you guys. We really appreciate it. When we say I love you guys at the end of the episode, we're saying it to each other, but we're also saying it to the fans out there. So thank you very much. Happy holidays. I guess we
I
won't
love
see
you too, guys. I love you too, guys. Even though you're across the pond, you're the enemy. But
yeah, we love all of our fans no matter what. So yeah, let's go Rangers. Never give up. Happy holidays. We won't see you for the happy new year. So everyone have a happy and safe new year. Stay off the roads if you can, or if you're able to. And yeah, hopefully we'll see everyone in the new year next Sunday. Actually, no, that'll be the 29th. So we will see everyone before the new year. So
well
Merry
said,
Christmas and happy holidays.
Hopefully Buffalo holds on to this lead because if the Islanders win, they pass the Rangers. So let's hope that they still stink up the joint.
Yep. We can always hope for the Islanders to stink up, but we can always count on that. All right. Love you guys. Love you, Dad.
Love you guys.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa. The works.
Kwanzaa stand.
What am I doing here? End stream.